So, welcome everybody, the warm welcome. I'm really happy to be here and to give me the chance to explain some of my experience I made in my history. Another thing I have to say, maybe all of you know that Zoom mirrors the movement. So normally the sword, my right hand is in front. In Zoom, it's opposite. Maybe I change the weapon, or you know. So don't be disturbed or confused because I have the sword in the wrong hand. It's not. It depends on Zoom. So my idea of sword work is not. It was influenced by Kashima, but now the majority of my sword work is Aiki-Ken and Aikido. So because this is closer to Aikido and it's not the Kenjutsu schools, Katori Shinto-ryo or Kashima-ryo or something else like that. Yeah? The exercises, please do it slow. If you have a partner, it's fine. If you don't have a partner, maybe you have a pole in front or something else. Or later, if the video is open, you can see it and then you can repeat it with a partner. So I change a little bit my computer. So now I want to introduce my student. It's Andre.
Hi, everybody.
And he will give me some support.
Hi.
So everybody can understand me well. So let's do the opening, please. Sensei, wait. So, my friends, the main thing first, if you use the sword, you always put it in front. So don't take this. You put the sword in front and you keep it in front. And always like this. So like this, or in front, like this. So it's in front of me, always. And my left hand is at the end, the right hand is in front, and my sword is almost one hand in front of my belly, of my tangen. My shoulders are relaxed. And if I raise the sword, it's always the left hand that is doing the work. So the right hand keeps the direction, but the left hand guides the sword. So it's floating up, or a little kind of pushing. Yeah. So you push the sword slightly up, and again the left hand brings the sword down. And you breathe in up and breathe out down. You rise the sword, the wrist, the elbow. You move the shoulders, and for the cut down, you drop the shoulders, you drop the elbow, and you drop the wrist. So let's do together. Up, down, 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 up, down. So one more thing, if I move the sword up, my hip moves. But how does it move? Therefore, I need these two sticks, and they represent my shoulder line and my hip line. So if I move, my shoulder is always over the hip. So if I turn the hip, the shoulder turns as well. So I turn my hip and the shoulder is always above. So if I do it differently, moving the shoulder more than the hip or opposite, the lines are not one above the other. So it's this way. I push and forward. And one more thing. So if I move my hip, it's my left hip moves forward and not my right hip pulls back. So my left hip forward, so my right hip goes back, but the action comes from my left hip. And if I go for the strike, my right hip moves. So the left hip, the right, the left, the right, the left, and the right. If I do it with my sword, maybe I pull this up. So if I move the sword up, my left hip moves forward. And my foot, the palm of my foot, is on the ground. Now I shift the weight and I bring the right hip forward. And up and down. The left hip forward, right hip forward. Left hip forward, right hip forward. Left hip, right hip. Left, right. My shoulders are relaxed. So the sword is floating up. And then it drops down. Up and down. Up and down. Up and down. Can you do it? Yeah. Okay. So if you bring your sword up, it's maximum, it's parallel to the ground. It doesn't move further. It's this way. Because the action, the partner is there. There is no ninja behind where you have to attack it this way. So, yes. 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 Okay, that's the straight cut. We also can have this lateral cut. Lateral cut. It's a cut from the shoulder to the hip. Or opposite. Because our hand position is fixed, this means if you cut from from the right down to the left, our sword ends up almost 1 foot in front of the other foot, one foot in front of the right foot, the tip of my sword, yeah? And my shoulders are relaxed, so don't turn too much. And always shift the weight forward. It's an entering, 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 entering. This is from the right to the left. So we do this for a minute, maybe. So imagine maybe you have a partner, then it's fine. You stay in front of each other, have enough distance, so that the swords are free, and we do it together. Maybe orientate on this line. Yeah? So we rise the sword up and down, 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 up and down. So when our hip moves and our shoulder moves together, and the shoulder is always over the hip. Don't overturn. Yeah? This. 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 Left hip, right hip. Left, right. Left forward, right forward. Left forward, right forward. Left, right. Go on. Okay. So for all those who doesn't have a partner, I prepare a new partner. It's this one, maybe a pole, and you can practice like this. Pole, a bar, or in front of a small tree, whatever you want. Yeah, and then you can practice the cut. Okay, now we change the side. The left foot is in front, and now our sword ends up almost in front of our toes of the left foot. So it's in this way, and it ends up almost in front of my toes. So please try. Start slow. The speed will come later. It's important that the line is straight. So if your right arm, your right hand is passive, there will be a straight line. If my right hand is too strong and does too much, my sword tries to move another way. But it's from the left hand. From the left hand. And now the right hip, the sword comes up, my right hand hip moves forward. And with the cut, the left hip moves forward. And please go on. Here. Oh, done. Okay, very good. So that has been the straight cuts, Shomen and Kesa. Yokomen, it's called Yokomen, but in fact it's Kesaki, a straight cut. Yokomen will be this. It's this. Kesa is this. But most people, me too, we say Yokomen, we attack Kesa with the sword. So these are the straight cuts. There is another movement we have in Aikido as well. So we have always two ways to move the body in the space. The first and most common way is the straight movement. It's shomen, it's ski, and all these stuff. And all straight movements belongs to our legs. So a straight movement is a leg movement as well. So all straight movements are leg movements. It's forward, it's backward, it's right, it's left, it's lateral, or all lines in between, but always straight. All straight movements are leg movements. And that's important. We have another axis in the space, it's up and down. And these are always leg movements. So all straight movements into the space are done by using our legs, always. The second way to move is we are on one spot and we have a new orientation. That means we rotate. And all rotations, are hip movements. So if we move in a spiral, it's a hip movement. In a circle, it's a hip movement. So a spiral is an addition of a circular movement, a hip movement, and a leg movement. So if we circle down, it's leg and hip. So these are the two ways we can move our body. Now the same with the sword, and now we will do this. We also can do a rotation with the sword. It's in this way. So we rotate around a point. So then it becomes clear. So there is one hand, our forward hand, the right hand. The right hand touches the sword at the rotation point. And the sword rotates into that forward hand, or in that direction. And the second hand, I will call it, is our action hand. This action hand does the rotation. The rotation is in that spot, and it's done by the other hand. That's the second way, a really interesting way, how to move the sword. So for this, please stay straight in front. It's an exercise, hip wide. The sword is in front, and now we keep this right hand in front of our center line. And now we rotate around one hand, and now the other direction. So we turn the easy way, and the second way, we have to cross a lot. So there is an easy way, and there's a more complex way. Now it's only done by our hands. Now we integrate our hip. So for the rotation, our hip moves. And our hip moves. So we shift our weight slightly to the side. So we give space for the sword. No, I'm too fast, too slow. Four, 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 four. Now we go in a hammy position. Right foot in front. And it's the same. So we turn and we turn. Turn and we turn. And free your hip. So, how to free your hip? Easy, easy. I free my hip if I bend slightly my knees. You can figure out. Stretch your knees and feel, check how much you can move your hip. And then slightly bend your knees and you will realize, oh, my hip becomes free. So the knees frees our hip. And if you look to our arms, it's exactly the same. Our elbows free the shoulder. So if you have a straight elbow, our shoulder becomes fixed and stiff. If we relax our shoulder, our elbows, we free our shoulder. So always in Aikido, in weapon work, free your knee, free your hips and the shoulders by bending slightly your knees and your elbows. And now you can move freely. And the sword can pass your body easily. Now change your foot position, left foot in front. Go on. And this is the same with the jaw. So also you have a rotation. But in jaw work, we change the hand position, not with the sword. But it's the same movement. And the funny thing is that this, with the rotation point and the action point, or the rotation hand and the action hand, it's the same in Aikido. So here's my action hand, and this is the rotation hand. So my rotation goes here. So it's, if we find the same movement, what we can do with a sword, in normal Aikido. So his elbow is the rotation point, and the grip or the wrist where the action is. If our partner stretched the arm, so the elbow is straight, our rotation point changes from the elbow to the shoulder. Or the handle of our sword becomes longer. So normally it's like that. Otherwise, it's like this. So this is what we can find in this movement. and we can use in NOLA Aikido. It's the same movement. So we have a rotation point, rotation hand, and we have an action hand. So, okay, so please, now I do it with a partner, but check it. If you have a partner, it's fine. If not, try to remind or make a note. So if we have our swords in a normal handling position, the sword and the body is on one line. So if you come closer, both are killed. Really bad idea. So what happens normally? If you come closer, our sword goes to the inside. And if we take distance, the sword comes back on the straight line. So and back. So if I only enter, and now we come to this rotation thing, the sword, it's here. And again, it's the same. So I enter a little bit, I open because I come closer. And now I have this rotation. I have this rotation. And what he is doing, if this cut is strong, he raises his hands that the sword can come around his head. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So we open, we have this rotation point, and we have this action point. And we can change the side as well. Here. And that's a little bit more complex because you have to cross, but it's the same. We enter, our sword moves. Our sword moves. Our sword moves to the side. Or our sword moves to the side. And the complete distance, everything is straight, we're in one line. Sword crosses, his sword, his body, and me, we're in one line. This sword is out of the line. But then it comes on the line. Okay. So if you have a partner, please try this. First, you go forward, both cross, and you take distance, and the sword comes back on the line. Come up. Or the opposite side. So we come closer. This, and we take distance, and we come on the line. So only it's me that do the movement, then I can take the cut. I can take the cut. I can take it. And my movement of the sword, it's always this. It's a rotation, like drawing a question mark and dot. It's not this. Don't slide down at the sword, then you will hit partner's fingers. So it's there. always my hips move and accompany this cut. Okay, you do with me? For all those who doesn't have a partner, you do the rotation movement always like this. And keep this in your mind and do this partner exercise lately. Okay, another exercise, another basic exercise is if we have the sword here. If he does this rotation movement, and if possible, I move the sword in front. If his movement is stronger, more powerful, maybe I have to go around. But if possible, I keep my sword in front. So if I'm in this position, I go around here. I go around in front. I go around the sword and come back. And as possible, I keep my sword in front. Because this sword, this is my protection. Yeah? If I would do this without a reason, I'm dead. So, if possible, I keep it in front, I open my hip, I relax my knees, I free my hip, I free my shoulders, and bring it back. Yeah? If it's more powerful, okay, I have to deal with it. I have to deal with it. But it depends on his attack. If possible, I will keep always something in between us for my protection. So my sword is my shield. Yeah? Don't move, take the sword, the shield away without a reason. You will be dead. So, and here it's also, you will realize if you have a strong grip, your sword can't move. It rotates again in this rotation point. You don't have to lift it, you don't have to move it in that way. You only free it and it turns around here. And this is the same if I take ukemi. If I take ukemi. So, that's my interest. If I'm too stiff, it's this. If I free my hip, I can come back. So, I free myself, but I keep the contact, I keep the connection. Maybe I move. So it's possible I stay on the spot and take it back. Sometimes, if it's too strong, maybe I have to move. So, and this we can learn from the sword. If the power is strong, I have to deal with it. I can't block it. I deal with it. I deal with it. And it's not so strong, okay, I deal with it too. But I keep the sword in front. And it's most important on one side that you learn to cross. You learn to cross so that the rotation point is free. This side is easy. But this one, you have to cross a lot. And you have to relax. And maybe you have to bring up your hands. Yeah, you can do it by yourself. Cross and let the sword move free around your head or your body. This is important. So you have to learn to take the sword at the grip as strong as necessary. But it's a little bit like catching a bird. If the grip is too soft, the bird will float away. If it's too hard, not so good for the bird. So it's the same here. So if it's too soft, my sword is flying away. If it's too hard, I'm locked. He will kill me. So I have to free my body. And to free my body means relax your relax your elbows and relax your knees. Knees free your hip, and the elbows free your shoulders. And now I can adjust all the movements easily. And I'm free with my legs as well. Yeah? And this is the important thing, in my opinion, how to work with a sword, to develop our Aikido movement, and not to become the best sword fighter. This is a Kenjutsu idea, but I don't want to teach you Kenjutsu. I want to give you some ideas to use the sword, to use the weapons, to develop your Aikido skills. And it's only this. Moving around the rotation point, free your shoulders by bending your elbows, free your hips by bending your knees. Then you will realize, oh, my whole movements become more soft. And I'm more able to adjust attacks, also strong attacks. Okay, try to go on with this really basic movement. It looks simple and it is simple. If you want, you can change your hand. The fundamentalist Kenjutsu will say, oh, you cannot do this. But we can. Yes, we can. Okay. Next movement. How to move a sword in a different way. So we can go for the sword in that way. Or we can come from the button. what is important? It's not this. He will kill me immediately. It's this. So it's nothing else but coming up and cutting down. It's coming up and down. So it comes from here. It's not a lateral hit against the sword. It's this. It's this. It's this. I concentrate on, I want to rise some sword. I want to rise myself this. This is the movement. And now he adjusts. Yes. 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 And the opposite way from here. From here. From here. Now we can do this both sides. Bam. It's easy to realize if the movement is good. It's a sound that shows pretty clear. It's this. What's this? Okay. If you have a partner, fine. If not, maybe you have a poem. I imagine, okay, that is the line. I come up here, and maybe I touch. Oh, too strong. It's this. Now you don't have to hit all the time. It's okay if you have a line where you can orientate this and this. And it's again my hip movement, my hip, my hip, my hip forward, my hip forward, my hip forward. So try with a partner, try with a pole, or try with an invisible partner. It's important, always check yourself, check your shoulders. Are they soft? Are they soft? And your idea is only, you want to rise the sword. From here, you want to rise the sword. It's not hitting like that. It's only bring the sword up from the side, up to the middle, above you, and down. Up and down. Up and down. Up, down, up, and down. Okay, try with a partner, the pole, free, whatever, or by yourself. And check your shoulders. If they become tensed, relax them. Relax them. Relax them. The reason for tensed shoulders are mostly, almost every time, it's a too strong forward hand. The rotation hand is too stiff. Your shoulder will go up. So if your rotation hand, the forward hand is soft, the shoulders relax. Yeah? And this movement, this is same. It's the same as, oh, it's the same as Shonen. It's this. So it's not this. Yeah. Or he turns around and boom. And it's only, it's this. Up, down. It's up, down. And I move my hip. I move my hip forward. And I move my hip forward. I move my hip forward. And I move my hip forward. Maybe I step out. It's more easy. But it's nothing but rising my sword and taking Uke's sword like we did with our sword. It's not this. It's really soft, I take. I take. And if his elbow is a little bit more straight, okay, the rotation point is his shoulder. This is no problem. I don't care. There will be a rotation point I don't have to look for. So, try to develop, try to exercise with a partner, or you do by yourself. With the sword, bring up, down. Maybe bring up, down. Bring up, down. You go for EQ. Go out, I cut. I go out, I cut. Really soft. Always really soft. Okay, the last exercise, we rise our sword in a way that we, before we rise it, we turn the sword. So we have a cut from down to up first. And it's the same for the cut later. I need my protection. The big fall is this. Yeah, you get. So if I come up, it's this. I come up like this. I'm protected. I go around and I cut. So we are in this position. We come from down to up. We turn the sword. And the sword turns because we turn our hip. And if we turn our hip, the shoulders are above, our shoulder will turn. And if our shoulder turns, our hands will turn. So all comes from our hip. So our hip turns, the shoulder are over the hip, the hands are connected with the shoulder. So it's not a movement from my arms. It looks maybe like that, but finally it's, I move my shoulder because I move my hip. I move my hip, I turn my hip, and all the rest moves. Turn, I go around. I turn, go around. Turn, around, turn, I go around. Okay, go on. For this rotation thing, if you want to learn, it's a little advice at the end. So if you want to learn how to bring the sword around, at the beginning, with two swords, maybe it's a little bit complex. You can do it this way. This way. This way. This way. Up. This way. This way. So that you can relax, learn how to relax without thinking too much. Oh, I have to deal with a cut in this way. And down. And this. And this. Yes. And this. And this. And this. And this. So this is a small exercise you can use exactly at the beginning. If you have beginners with a sword and they have no idea, you can teach it this in this way. So they can learn, okay, I can move the sword in that way. And then, if the partner is able to do it, okay, you can do it this way, and this way, and this way, and this way, up, and this way, 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 and this way. Okay, that was the lesson.
Maybe we can do question and answer next.
Yeah, sure.
Would that be okay? We had about 2 questions in the chat. Jacqueline Sensei and Adrian Sensei, would y'all like to ask your questions? Maybe Jacqueline first.
In Shunruchi, you said the sword should not go below horizontal.
Yeah.
But how is it with a yokumen or kesagiri? When
Yeah,
you're
okay.
here, how far down do you go? Uh-oh.
That's at the border.
You have to repeat, you froze.
Sorry.
For,
yeah, that's at the border. I never would say you always have to do this, but if you're in a showman position and it's clear you want to do showman, somebody is in front of you, don't.
Oh, man. Everybody frozen? Just Ulli?
Just Ulli.
Oh man, that's the weirdest thing.
Just when he's about to give us the secret.
You see that 2021 is already off to some hijinks here in the world. Ulli, you froze again. Would you try to please answer that again? What were you saying about?
So I think there is no law that's always forbidden, but try to avoid to drop the sword behind you without a reason. So if there's a reason, somebody cuts strong and the sword has to go around your body, there is no other way to do. If you can bring the sword up in front of you, try to do this first, if possible. But if this power is too strong, there is no other way than go around.
And Jacqueline, were you also asking about whether the angle of the sword on kesagiri can angle towards the ground rather than being parallel when it's kind of behind you ready to cut? Was that the question?
No, yeah, it was in the kesagiri when you actually cut.
Yeah.
So that's where, how far back does the tip go? And then how far back do the hand go beyond your head, or do you keep your hands in front?
Oh, these guitar questions, I'm really afraid of all these questions. I don't think about too much about that. So I'm not the sword master that can answer all these questions. I think a good thing is feel yourself. How does it feel? Do you feel, are you relaxed? Are you able to move forward? I think that that's most important than to declare, oh, this is the exact angle and this is the exact position. I don't, I don't like this so much because I can't answer it. I think I follow my feelings more in this way.
Okay, thank you
very much. Adrian, you had a question as well.
Yes, probably the angle was not great, but you broke down into the Ikkyo, into rotation of the elbow, and the later in the session you said this is the move of the hip.
It's always the hip.
Together, yeah. Because like elbow, rotation of the elbow, and rotation of the hip in the same time.
It's the elbow is my rotation point. It's more, but all movements comes from my hip because it's a rotation movement. So I put my body movement and body rotation over the partner's elbow to the partner's center. So I'm connected over the whole system. So it's not only do some rotation at the arm. It's a whole system, you know? So wait, maybe I can show. So normally it's most people, what we see are the arms. But what we don't see is this. So it's always this hip movement. And this comes and creates this rotation around the elbow and affects him. Yeah? So, but it's always, I always try to move my hip. Even if I step out, now I turn my hip first. And I turn my hip. And it's much more this than our arms. The arms are, in my idea, the arms are two things. They are my sensors. I feel and I check and I realize where he is, where he wants to go. These are my sensors. Where's the power? Where the power wants to go? And they are transmitters. My arms transmit my body movement to the partner. And they are not instruments doing something alone outside my body. So they are sensors and transmitters and not instruments.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I had a question myself.
Yeah, please.
When you're doing all the turns, do you like to keep complete contact with the hilt, or is it okay to let there be some space? Because like on Kirikaesh, like it's challenging to do that, right? But that's something
I open a little bit the grip, that the sword becomes free. If it's too much, it's like the bird, it's flowing away. So, but if it's completely closed, a strong closed grip, I cannot move anymore. So it's something in between. It's always a game between softness and strength. It's controlling and freedom in the movement, and not only one. Yeah. So I open my fingers and I try to touch. I try to touch. Okay. For the beginners, we take a grip.
Yeah.
Really advanced, they touch. Sometimes it's a really good exercise only to touch to develop the connection. Yeah. But it's not wrong to have the fingers like that, but without holding. It's I can use if necessary. Yeah. I can use if necessary, but it's soft. And the same with the sword. The same with the sword here. The same with the sword here. They are soft. My wrists are free. If I take a strong grip, my wrists become completely fixed. So I can't move. And my wrist infects the elbow, and the elbow infects the shoulder, and the shoulder infects the wrist. And I become a statue. So there must be freedom in the movement. And maybe I open a little with my fingers to create that freedom. Yeah? Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, well, I just want to say thank you, Ulli Sensei. That was really clear and helpful and wonderful. Thank you so much.
I thank you all to take part, and hopefully something you can take. Maybe we see us again on another seminar. Maybe I visit as a student. We do something as the same or similar exercise with Joe if you want, or some other techniques. But I think it's really good to use the sword to show the movement, but it's not using the sword to show cuts. This is more jutsu, kenjutsu, but I'm interested in Aiki-Ken. So I use the sword for a better understanding of our movements, yeah, and not how to be the best sword fighter. Thank you all. It was a pleasure for me, and I enjoyed it. And my student is also really happy. He's smiling. Thank you all.